Have you ever noticed how some people approach you with fascination, but then pull away as if they touched fire? Like your energy is too intense for them to handle? It's frustrating, isn't it? You didn't do anything wrong. You weren't aggressive. In fact, you were just being yourself. But your genuine presence seems to scare even those who should value you. Carl Jung discovered something fascinating about this. According to him, certain people carry an energy so authentic, so powerful, that it exposes everything others hide from themselves. Your aura becomes a mirror that reflects the shadows people prefer to keep buried. And today, I'm going to show you the 10 signs that your aura is exactly like this. If you recognize yourself in at least 3 of these signs, leave an "I am intense" in the comments. I want to know how many of you carry this rare energy. The first sign your aura is so intense it intimidates others is that you change the energy of any environment without saying a word. You walk into a room and conversations pause for a few seconds. People turn to look, not because of how you're dressed or what you said, but because something shifted in the atmosphere itself. It's not coincidence, it's your aura reorganizing the space around you. Carl Jung understood that our energetic field precedes our physical presence. He called this the psychic field that extends beyond the boundaries of the body. When your inner world is aligned, when you've integrated your shadow and embraced your authentic self, that coherence radiates outward like invisible waves. Your energy arrives before you do, and sensitive people feel it immediately. You don't try to dominate the room. You don't announce yourself. You simply exist with such inner alignment that the environment responds to your presence. Some people find this magnetic, others find it threatening, but none remain indifferent. Your aura doesn't whisper, it declares, even in complete silence. But this is just the beginning. The second sign goes even deeper. Animals and children are naturally drawn to you. Dogs you've never met approach with curiosity instead of caution. Babies stop crying when they see you. Wild animals seem unusually calm in your presence. This isn't random. It's your aura speaking a language that transcends words. Jung understood that animals and children communicate through pure, unconscious perception. They haven't learned to wear social masks yet, so they respond to authentic energy, without the filters that adults use. When your aura is clear and genuine, they feel safe. They sense truth without needing explanation. Your energy field broadcasts authenticity, and beings who still live in that authentic state recognize it immediately. They don't see your social status, your appearance, or your reputation. They feel your essence. And when that essence is integrated and real, they trust instinctively. This natural connection with the innocent reveals something profound about your energy. You carry a frequency that speaks to the untamed, unfiltered parts of existence. And that same frequency that soothes animals and children can unsettle adults who have forgotten how to be genuine. Which brings us to the third sign, and this one might surprise you. People make spontaneous confessions to you. Complete strangers start sharing intimate details about their lives during casual conversations. Old wounds, hidden fears, secret dreams, they all pour out without you asking a single question. They look surprised afterward, as if they can't believe they revealed so much to someone they barely know. This happens because your aura creates what Jung called a sacred container. Your energy field becomes a safe space where the unconscious feels permission to express itself. You don't judge, you don't try to fix, you simply hold space with such stability that others feel they can drop their masks, even temporarily. Your presence becomes a confession booth for the soul. People sense that you can handle their truth without breaking, that you won't use their vulnerability against them. This is a rare gift in a world where most people are afraid to be seen for who they really are. But not everyone appreciates this gift. Some people feel exposed by your ability to create authentic space, which leads to the fourth sign. You intimidate without trying. You enter spaces with a calm heart and peaceful intentions, yet you notice defenses going up around you. Rigid postures, forced smiles, tense voices, as if your mere presence triggered an invisible alarm system in others. This can be hard to accept, especially if you're naturally kind and respectful. But what intimidates isn't what you do, it's what you represent. Carl Jung wrote extensively about the persona, the social mask we wear to gain acceptance. The more someone is trapped behind that mask, the more threatening your authenticity becomes. Your genuine presence puts pressure on illusion. Without meaning to, you challenge the carefully constructed facades that people use to navigate their daily lives. You're not trying to expose anyone, you're just being real. But that realness can feel like a spotlight on everything fake people project onto you. They assume arrogance where there's only presence. They see judgment where there's only clarity. They imagine superiority where there's only authenticity. These projections say more about them than about you, but you become the target of their unconscious discomfort. You don't intimidate because you want to dominate. You intimidate because you reveal what's possible when someone stops hiding from themselves. And for people still living behind protective walls, that possibility can feel terrifying. The fifth sign will resonate deeply with anyone who's ever felt energetically drained by surface-level interactions. Superficial conversations drain you completely. Small talk about weather, gossip, meaningless chatter. It all feels like it's sucking your life force away. Your body tenses, your mind wanders. Something inside you starts to check out because there's nothing substantial to connect with. This isn't antisocial behavior. It's energetic selectivity. Jung understood that some souls require depth to thrive. Your aura naturally gravitates toward meaningful connection, authentic expression, real human contact. When conversations remain on the surface, your energy field rebels. You weren't made to sustain yourself on emotional junk food. Your spirit requires nourishment that only comes from genuine exchange, from being seen and seeing others in return. This selectivity often leads to loneliness, but it also preserves your energy for connections that actually matter. You'd rather have one real conversation than 100 fake ones. You'd rather sit in comfortable silence than fill space with empty words. This discernment protects your energy, but also sets you apart from a culture that often mistakes noise for connection. This natural filtering system leads to the sixth sign, and it's one that often feels like a superpower. Your intuition reads people and situations instantly. You walk into a space and immediately know something's wrong, even when everything looks normal. You can tell when someone is lying, even when they're smiling. You feel tension in the air, even when the mood seems calm. This isn't mystical guesswork, it's refined perception. When your aura is clear and expanded, it becomes a sensitive antenna that picks up energetic frequencies others miss. Jung called this symbolic perception, the ability to read the unconscious communications that flow beneath conscious awareness. Your energy field processes information that your logical mind hasn't caught up to yet. You know when someone is uncomfortable, even if they're pretending to be fine. You sense manipulation before it becomes obvious. You feel authenticity or its absence before words are spoken. This heightened perception can be overwhelming because you often know more than you want to. No, you pick up on emotional undercurrents that others remain oblivious to. But this sensitivity also protects you and guides you toward people and situations that match your energetic frequency. Trust these intuitive hits. They rarely steer you wrong, because they're coming from a deep place of integrated awareness that operates beyond the level of social conditioning. Which brings us to the seventh sign, one that speaks to the power of conscious presence. Your silence speaks louder than most people's words. When you choose not to speak, others feel the weight of that choice. Your quiet presence carries more impact than their endless chatter. People become nervous when you're silent because they can feel the depth of what you're not saying. This isn't manipulation or calculated intimidation. It's the natural result of someone who has learned to contain their energy rather than scatter it through unnecessary words. Jung understood that true power often expresses itself through restraint, through the ability to hold space without needing to fill it. Your silence becomes a form of communication that cuts through superficiality and reaches the unconscious directly. When you choose not to explain yourself, not to defend your position, not to engage in verbal sparring, you force others to sit with their own projections and assumptions. This can be deeply uncomfortable for people who use words to avoid feeling, who fill silence to escape themselves. Your comfortable relationship with quiet reveals their uncomfortable relationship with their own inner world. You've learned that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply be present without trying to prove anything. Your energy speaks for itself, and that energy doesn't need a megaphone to be heard. The 8th sign often creates the most confusion for people with intense auras. People project their shadows onto you constantly. You become a screen for everything they've rejected about themselves. If they've suppressed their power, they'll call you controlling. If they've denied their sexuality, they'll see you as inappropriate. If they've hidden their authenticity, they'll label you as fake or attention-seeking. Jung's concept of shadow projection explains why intense people often become targets for seemingly irrational criticism. Others unconsciously transfer their disowned qualities onto you because your integrated presence reminds them of what they've split off from themselves. You might find yourself accused of being arrogant when you're simply confident, cold when you're just boundaried, or intense when you're simply present. These projections aren't accurate reflections of who you are. They're maps of what others can't accept about themselves. Learning to distinguish between what's truly yours and what's being projected onto you becomes crucial for maintaining your sense of self. Not every criticism is valid feedback. Sometimes it's just someone else's unconscious material looking for a place to land. Don't absorb what isn't yours. Let their projections bounce off your clear energy field and return to sender. Your job isn't to be everyone's emotional dumping ground, or to make yourself smaller so others feel more comfortable with their own limitations. This dynamic of projection leads to the 9th sign, one that reveals the polarizing nature of authentic presence. You attract and repel with equal intensity. People either love you or they can't stand you. There's rarely a middle ground. Your energy doesn't allow for lukewarm responses because authenticity demands a choice. People either embrace truth or reject it. This polarization isn't a flaw in your character. It's a feature of integrated presence. When someone shows up completely as themselves, without apology or pretense, it forces others to confront their own relationship with authenticity. Some people are inspired by your courage to be real. Others are threatened by it. Jung understood that the more individuated someone becomes, the more they'll experience this kind of polarized response from others. You become a lightning rod for both admiration and resistance because you represent what's possible when someone stops performing and starts being. The people who love you really love you because they feel seen and accepted in your presence. The people who can't stand you are usually responding not to who you are, but to what you represent that they're not ready to face in themselves. This polarization can be lonely, but it's also clarifying. It quickly sorts people into those who can handle your full presence and those who need you to be someone else. And honestly, you don't have time or energy to waste on people who need you to be smaller than you are. The final sign encompasses everything we've discussed and reveals the source of your intense aura. Your inner journey has shaped the energy you radiate. That groundedness others feel, that peace that unsettles them, that light that both attracts and intimidates, it didn't come from self-help books or positive affirmations. It came from the depths of your own transformation. You've walked through your shadow. You've faced parts of yourself that others still run from. You've integrated experiences that would break someone who hasn't developed the same inner strength. Your intensity isn't superficial or performed. It's earned through the deep work of becoming who you really are. Carl Jung called this process individuation, the journey of integrating all aspects of the self into a coherent whole. Most people never attempt this journey because it requires facing everything they've been taught to avoid about themselves. But you've done the work, and it shows in your energy field. You don't shine because you've never known darkness. You shine because you've learned to carry light through the darkness without letting it extinguish your truth. Your aura carries the frequency of someone who has been tested and emerged more whole, not more broken. This earned authenticity is what others feel when they're around you. It's not just confidence, it's the deep knowing that comes from surviving your own transformation. It's not just presence, it's the weight of someone who has faced themselves completely and chosen to live from that truth. Your intensity isn't something you put on. It's who you've become through the conscious choice to grow instead of hiding, to feel instead of numbing, to integrate instead of avoiding. And that journey continues to deepen your aura every day. If you've recognized yourself in at least 5 of these signs, understand this. You're not too much, you're rare. Your intense aura isn't a flaw to fix, it's a gift to honor. Yes, you'll scare people. Yes, some will pull away, but that's not because there's something wrong with you, it's because there's something very right. Jung taught us that the most authentic individuals are often the most misunderstood, but they're also the most necessary. You serve as a mirror for humanity's potential. Your presence reminds others of what's possible when someone chooses truth over comfort, authenticity over acceptance, growth over stagnation. Don't dim your light to fit into others' darkness. Don't soften your intensity to make insecure people comfortable. Don't apologize for being whole in a world full of fragments. Your aura is exactly as intense as it needs to be to fulfill your purpose here. If you have an intense aura, write in the comments, "My energy is undeniable." Let's see. How many authentic warriors are in this community? And if this video helped you understand your own power, subscribe to the channel, because I'll continue exploring the mysteries of human consciousness that Carl Jung revealed to us. Remember this: those who fear your light are living in darkness. That's not your problem to solve, it's their opportunity to grow. Keep being who you are, because the world needs your intensity more than your comfort with hiding it.